have been hard at work on our next epic, and we wanted to find the right time to announce not only what that game is, but the day it's coming out. And that right time is now.
Today is a momentous day, because today, Bethesda Studios will release their next installment in the Elder Scrolls franchise, the Elder Scrolls V, Skyrim. For Elder Scrolls fans, November 11th, 2011 is a day that hasn't come soon enough. Millions of people have been ravenously waiting to play Skyrim for 5 years. Some fans grew so impatient they even broke the law to make 11-11-11 come sooner. For Bethesda, November 11th, 2011 is a day of immense catharsis. The epic fantasy role-playing game they spent half a decade making is complete. An endless sea of deadlines, countless weekends in the office, all of it weighed on the shoulders of every Bethesda employee, only for that weight to be lifted by this very day. Just look how happy everyone is. Good for them. What no one expected, though, is that today would never end. Skyrim was supposed to release today, and we'd spend the next month of our lives trying to decorate our Whiterun homes with the janky-ass creation engine, or sinking 100+ hours into not beating the main quest. When Bethesda would drop some DLC, we'd devour that, and then we'd eagerly await the next one. Except we haven't moved on from Skyrim, and more concerningly, neither has Bethesda. Despite releasing on November 11th, 2011, Skyrim has re-released over 5 different versions across 3 console generations. It's still shown off at video game expos alongside games a fraction of its age, all the while becoming one of the highest selling video games ever made. And so Skyrim is still here, forever freezing its creators in a cryogenic creativity chamber, with the date locked on 11-11-11. To understand what the fallout of this day would truly be, you must first see with your own eyes that 11-11-11 is a day that was years in the making. The Elder Scrolls is a pretty old franchise. That's why they put Elder in the title. Bethesda has been rolling out the scrolls since the mid-1990s. The series has been around long enough that they're core memories for multiple generations of people. From boomer grandpa gamer booting up Arena on his family computer running DOS, to little Gen Alpha Timmy, also playing Arena. Grandpa wasn't absent in his grandson's life. We unlocked the good ending. There's a reason why this franchise has stuck around for as long as it has. The Elder Scrolls' devilish hook is in its details. Small things these games pay attention to only strengthen the immersion. There's races with unique backstories and deep-rooted conflicts with other races, provinces that drew political borders from wars you can only learn from drinking songs thousands of years old. And the sum of all these details is a rich world that feels lived in, with or without the player. Your playthrough of one Elder Scrolls game was an epic quest to save the world, but to the NPCs in the next game, it's just another question to study for on the College of Winterhold entrance exam in a few centuries. So the more that you delve into the world of the Elder Scrolls, the more you get out of it. The first detail that most people notice about this franchise is that each region of the continent called Tamriel corresponds with the mainline games. Barring the Goat Arena, which made the entire continent its map, but we'll let that slide. The NPC dialogue will name drop these regions because that's just the world they live in. The games are master classes in making gamers do the soyjack face.
It seems that Skyrim...
Seeing as every region of just one continent in the Elder Scrolls is filled with countless stories to tell, part of the fun is seeing what breadcrumbs are left behind to guess where the next Elder Scrolls game will take place, meaning that Skyrim's story actually begins with its predecessor, the Elder Scrolls IV, Oblivion.
Then pay with your blood!
Since Redguard, Bethesda has had a track record of releasing Elder Scrolls games consistently every 4 years. Well, what do you know? It's been just about 4 years since Oblivion. I guess that means that new Scrolls game is right around the corner. But even as far back as 2006, the year Oblivion released, fans were fiending to find any hint about Skyrim, doing things like pushing the limits of the game engine and boundary breaking because, ooh, I'm in Skyrim, eavesdropping on every single conversation of the NPCs, archiving redacted Amazon product descriptions of a new Elder Scrolls book because it slightly hinted at the timing of Skyrim. This oopsie was quickly noticed and changed by Bethesda, so this obviously means it's true. Or cross-referencing pictures of Todd Howard at dinner with a gaming journalist, so we could predict that Skyrim would be teased in a magazine. Yeah, I wasn't kidding about fiending. This is giving the fans too much credit, however. The reality is, in the 2000s, we didn't even know where the 5th Elder Scrolls game would take place, or that it was called Skyrim. There used to be rumors that Skyrim would actually be called the Elder Scrolls V Romanelli, because in the opening of Redguard, which sucks ass by the way, there's a blink and you'll miss it book that says the Elder Scrolls V Romanelli. Bethesda wasn't forthcoming with details either. Every E3 was a dry spell for Elder Scrolls fans. Todd, what can you tell us about the Elder Scrolls?
Fallout 3.
Fallout 3.
Fallout 3.
My drugs are wearing off right now.
The last E3 we'd seen the Scrolls was 2005, and the last time anyone saw Bethesda was E3 2008. If you saw a Bethesda employee in public, it was like seeing Bigfoot, so you'd have to react like any normal person seeing Bigfoot. Where is the new Elder Scrolls game?
Episode 3, so we can finish
God
off
damn
this
it. Sorry,
trilogy and
guys.
finish
Wrong
the
guy. It's
story
alright.
arcs,
It's alright. We'll kidnap
with
someone
the
else. What little people did know about the Elder Scrolls V is that it would be much more gritty and realistic. Not just because by the time Oblivion released, HD consoles were the norm. It's more so that Bethesda likes to flip-flop the art direction of each Elder Scrolls game. Every new entry is a direct reaction stylistically to its predecessor. Redguard was a swashbuckling desert romp. Well, the next game they call you slurs in the Salvador Dali swamp. Well, now it's a high fantasy, sunshine-filled Lord of the Rings adventure. Meaning the Elder Scrolls V would make the franchise come down from its fantasy high. Like, there's wizards and magic and stuff, but I'm not a dork about it like you, Oblivion, ew! So here's everything fans knew about the Elder Scrolls V for years. It's gonna be gritty and HD. Well, it's a start. Any other detail beyond that was just the occasional straw being grasped.
Curious to know, it's been a while since Oblivion was released. I'm really hoping that Elder Scrolls V does in fact get released for 2010.
By this point, the wait had become unbearable. It had been a nearly 5-year wait for 5. Fans were beyond speculation. Now we're at the point where we're just making shit up. Did you guys know that the Elder Scrolls V will have playable centaurs voiced by famed centaur Pierce Brosnan? What's my source?
Kiss my ass!
Have you heard of the High Elves of Somerset Isle? I heard that's where Elder Scrolls V is taking place. Don't ask me where I heard it, because I made it up. Of course, the 2010 Video Game Awards brought to you by Dr. Pepper. Oh my god, it's creative director at Bethesda Game Studios Todd Howard, and he's protected by his personal entourage of Toddites. There's no way he's gonna show.
The Elder Scrolls. Yes!
Following an official confirmation from Bethesda after the Game Awards, the internet went nuts.
Oblivion fans can finally go nuts. The sequel is real. The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim will release on November 11th, 2011.
The months till November are gonna feel like a prison sentence. Not even joking, where's the pre-order button?
We'll take 20.
A year might as well be a lifetime. Can't wait for this game. I just found out.
11,
I'm
11,
very
11,
excited for
can't get your
this. Why did Bethesda choose to release Skyrim on 11/11/11? Well, they respect our veterans, brother. Can I get an amen? Realistically, it's a cool sounding date and easy to remember for marketing purposes. But who cares? What really mattered was that 11/11/11 would be the day we get our hands on Skyrim. And at this point in time, I don't think even Bethesda realized how big of an announcement this was. When Skyrim was ramping up for release, the Elder Scrolls was no longer a niche little series. Morrowind had brought the franchise into the console market, but its successor, Oblivion, it made the series a household name. Oblivion was not only an excellent game, but infinitely memeable.
Stop! You violated the law!
So those memes spread and spread to the point where now Skyrim had the potential to rival the commercial success of games like Halo 3 or Call of Duty, if they were successful. And success can be a double-edged sword. On one hand, Bethesda had been on a bit of a hot streak, making bundles of cash, gaining prestige and industry clout along the way. On the other hand, the bigger you are, the harder you fall. Skyrim needed to stick the landing lest they lose this massive newfound audience. And the craziest part is, in the face of all this pressure, Bethesda didn't plaster Skyrim on every billboard, or make Cyrodiil crunchies with exclusive Dovahkiin action figure. That had been done before. No, to sell a game like Skyrim, Bethesda was going to do,
nothing.
Never interrupt a gamer when they're already buying your game, said a wise Expedition 33 dev. Bethesda had been stealthing around the forums for quite some time. They knew just how starved fans were for Skyrim content. In an admittedly genius play, instead of Bethesda trying to sell Skyrim to the fans, they would let the fans sell it to the other fans. No big press tours yet, no Skyrim merch to consume yet. All Skyrim is going to do is come on stage, flash a little ankle, and that's all you'll get. And like it. A long, overblown marketing campaign can distract the developers. It's better to release details as they come, according to Bethesda. What Skyrim actually was didn't matter. What you think it could be, that's what Bethesda was going for. A little too well, actually. Including the Game Award announcement, which, let's be real, just said, Skyrim is real, please stop DMing us. For nearly 10 months, Bethesda only released 2 more in-game teasers, one of which was just a slideshow of concept art, and the other is the iconic trailer that everyone knows. Almost a year of waiting and less than 10 minutes of trailers. In fact, including the Skyrim demos Bethesda would copy a few times, as far as original, non-recycled footage, there was less than an hour of in-game footage shown for Skyrim's entire marketing run. They were drip-feeding information at an agonizing rate, but it meant that every drop of information was all the more special. And it was working. Gaming journalists and fans became salesmen for Skyrim.
At this rune here, which is obviously from the Oblivion Gates, where actually I want to go back a little bit though, because sort of in the middle distance, I do want to rewind just a little bit. If you look in the far background, you can see a ship there, kind of in the haze,
great.
and
okay,
we don't
shut the
know.
fuck up, Steve. This is actually a Pinus palustris tree, so Skyrim is confirmed coniferous. We can confirm that it's coniferous. Okay, let's go ahead and write that down. Add to the list. Frame-by-frame analysis of Skyrim trailer. New snippet of gameplay. Sky is the limit for Skyrim. Seeing Skyrim will make you a true believer. A tour of Bethesda's offices. By Azura, Skyrim map, zoom, zoom! I should really stop reading all the information they put out. It makes the wait unbearable. Really? Well, I would blow up a bus of nuns for Skyrim. Not until February of 2011 did we get any concrete details on what Skyrim would be like, when Game Informer published their exclusive Skyrim cover story. They didn't even have to try a good design. It's Skyrim. You already know what the fuck's going on here. Spreads like this were our first in-depth look at Skyrim. We learn that you'll play as an epic hero called the Dovahkiin, aka the Dragonborn, who eats the souls of dragons. There will be new magic and quests, amongst a few other sparse details. Most of the information you get from printed publications back then was some new screenshots, a few screenshots, maybe some screenshots. Even the elusive Skyrim ad in a magazine was bare bones. Yeah, it's Skyrim. You already know what the or my favorite Skyrim ad. Screen! Ugh, this dumb magazine is just showing me more screenshots I've already seen. Yawn! Remember though that the Elder Scrolls hook is in the details. Just because the marketing was scant doesn't mean it was thoughtless. On the back of the same Game Informer issue from earlier, there was a hidden message written. As a Roman alphabet enjoyer, these strange markings break my brain. But all the logographic alphabet homies can tell this message is some sort of language. Turns out that Bethesda created an entirely new dragon language for Skyrim, basing their glyphs on the rotation of a dragon's claws. And the language in the magazine is the same language you'll get to see all the time in Skyrim. With that context, fans discovered that Bethesda had actually been showing more than an ankle this entire time. Game Informer had a translation guide on their website, where dedicated enough fans could attempt to decipher the hidden message. Which, of course, they did. When translated, the cryptic message says,
I've been looking for you. Got something I'm supposed to deliver. Your hands only.
Nah, it just gave us some in-universe hints about the final boss of the game. You could also explore every single detail of the wall from the teaser trailer, which we can in fact confirm that the wall is in fact a wall. Confirmed. Hundreds of thousands of people were visiting sites like this every day to see more Skyrim. The official Elder Scrolls website is now boasting a sleek Skyrim design, hosting the occasional countdown timer for new Skyrim updates. I'm not strong enough, I can't do it again! Around March 2011, with more details slowly releasing at a calculated rate, the tagline for Skyrim revealed itself. Reborn. A deceptively simple and kinda silly tagline, but it works on a few levels. The guy you play as, Skyrim, is the reincarnation of an ancient hero, the Dragonborn. A literal rebirth. Bethesda, though, paid attention in English class, and put a more metaphorical meaning behind it too. The marketing agency behind Skyrim saw this game as an opportunity to shift the perception of fantasy and build a cinematic experience. The amount of hype behind Skyrim was already insane, so if the marketing team played their cards right, they could make the fantasy RPG appeal to every gamer. Today, that idea sounds redundant, but in 2011, gaming was in peak dude bro era. A game is good if it's realistic, was the mentality back then. Therefore, Skyrim went more cinematic and realistic to reach a bigger audience. In Oblivion, every NPC looks like they live in the Keebler Elf House. In Skyrim, everyone is grizzled and sipping trend smoothies because the general masses yearn for vascularity. Bethesda poured this mentality into every fiber of Skyrim, from the creature designs, the homes, and most importantly for now, the marketing. Yes, this world has dragons and elves in the trailer, but it's just that, a world that is real. Skyrim is an actual place with real people, and by buying this game, you're taking a small step into that realm. The very idea of what a fantasy world looks like will be reborn.
Okay, great, but what's in the game?
I'm glad you asked. At E3 2011, Skyrim was the it girl, and Bethesda knew they had to deliver. Todd was yoinked by every news outlet so he could leak some Skyrim details.
Todd Howard!
Bethesda's Todd Howard.
Todd, let's get to Skyrim.
Showing a big 30-minute demo underneath an actual life-size dragon.
Yeah, he wasn't lying about that. People were so blown away by Skyrim's demo that it won Best Role-Playing Game and Best Console Game of E3 2011. Todd, say it one more time.
Skyrim.
Yep, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, let's nominate Skyrim for Game of the Year. Who cares if the game isn't out yet? It's so good, you don't even need to play it. After E3 2011, Bethesda had everyone in the palm of their hands. No matter how big or small, whatever they dropped about Skyrim would cause mass hysteria. They were shooting for the sky and hitting no rim. How about at QuakeCon of this year, we just drop a 30-minute gameplay demo for a live audience, because we're Bethesda, why not? Do keep in mind though,
we ask you to take your cameras and take your phones and kindly place them in your pocket. We don't want crummy, shaky cam footage of our stuff out there.
if Bethesda had any modicum of doubt that Skyrim would be a success, then this QuakeCon demo would blow that doubt into space. These fans were savage for Skyrim.
Into the world when you step out person. You can see some of the new animation left hand.
Skyrim.
This Skyrim demo and subsequent re-uploads by Bethesda pulled millions of views. This blew people's minds back then, because Morrowind and Oblivion's combat was this, where Skyrim is this. To everyone in 2011, it really did look like the Elder Scrolls had been reborn. Uh-oh. Because I used a Bethesda marketing slogan twice now, I've activated their sleeper agent's primary objective. Skyrim started off rather quiet in its marketing approach. In the last few months before its release though, it started ramping things up. But we're not at Cyrodiil Crunchy's level. Yet. A classic tactic Bethesda uses to sell their RPGs is hyping up every minute detail to make their worlds feel authentic. Skyrim would be no different.
All POIs, points of interest. They're like, little mini encounters. There's well over 100 of those. That's all the little things that you're seeing here, like plants, micro detail, big epic things like mountains. You can walk to the top of that mountain.
Really, the marketing after a while was, what can't you do in Skyrim?
Now you can mine. When you mine, you can get that ore and hides off of animals and skin them to get leather.
You can cook now. Cooking is a new thing.
You can dual wield spells.
So the main quest is probably in the 20 to 25 hour range.
That's a big nut. That mountain is not just a backdrop. You can walk all the way to the top of that mountain. There is, the racism. We have over 150 handcrafted dungeons in the game. Detail. You can walk to the top of that mountain. Working economy that you can either do, you can actually sabotage this wood mill if you want. Mountain.
You see that mountain? Well, Todd actually went to the top of it, for real, and of course gave more details.
Most of the quests are hand done. Yellow sled.
Check out Skyrim.
Thank you, Jeff. Todd did so many interviews about Skyrim that he managed to assemble the 4 major elements: water, earth, fire, office space. I think after doing so many press junkets, he just stopped trying to hype things up. What about guilds? Yes. What is the level cap? No. Oh my gosh, if this is everything you can do in Skyrim, then what's off limits? It won't, and I repeat, it won't be on the Xbox 720. All spears will be removed.
There are going to be spears in the game. Seriously, these people are freaking out about it.
There are not spears in the classic spear sense, I'm sorry.
Morrowind fans are shaking in their boots, and there will be no pants. Checkmate, modding community. Were all of these details technically true or in the final version of Skyrim?
In Oblivion, we had like 12 actors, and that was one of the complaints, is you walk into Oblivion and you hear a lot of the same voices. So for Skyrim, we want to definitely improve on that.
But the small details crafted a grand vision. Bethesda made it clear that Skyrim is such a rich world, you'll never want to leave. All you have to do now is wait for 11-11-11. Waiting is boring. Give me Skyrim. Give me Skyrim. Skyrim. I want Skyrim. I want Skyrim.
彼らがスカイリムを望むなら、まさにそのスカイリムを与えてやろう。
The anticipation for Skyrim was palpable, and for some, mischievous. A few weeks before November 11th, screenshots of the Skyrim manual leaked, racking up thousands of views in a matter of days. Longtime fans of the channel know that I'm illiterate, so these cryptic markings mean nothing to me. We gotta up the ante. Like leaking the entire intro cutscene on YouTube. Bethesda tried copyright claiming every re-upload they could, but the damage was far from done, as the entire game leaked 10 days early on torrenting sites. Reports are claiming that if you download this torrented file, your computer cuts to black, and this plays. It wasn't always a meme, you know. Stores in the Netherlands are selling Skyrim on 7-11-11, and the Aussies are scalping retail copies days before the 11th. Hacker groups tried extorting Bethesda for information about Skyrim by stealing their users' account information from Brink, of all games. Entire fan-made songs become staples of internet culture, so Bethesda finally decided to show the full leg. Skyrim billboard. Skyrim Xbox theme. Skyrim Xbox avatar items. Own a literal piece of the space-time continuum for only 200 Microsoft points. Buy the Skyrim Collector's Edition and get a map and a dragon. Skyrim promo stickers, Skyrim bus ad, Skyrim food truck that will travel to various college campuses and feed our youth Whiterun corn, a Skyrim challenge. What's the challenge? Well, if your child is born on 11-11-11 and you name the kid Dovahkiin, they'll win free Bethesda games for life. The final boss for people who wear "I paused my game to be here" shirts. Fans schemed how they could cheese this, like putting a child on pre-order or swiping a random baby. Shockingly not the first time for a Bethesda game. But let's face it, Bethesda's marketing team said, no one is gonna name their kid Dovahkiin. I mean, that's so stupid. Fuck! Check out this live-action trailer for Skyrim, released less than 3 weeks away from November 11th. It's the penultimate Skyrim ad, and the cherry on top of its marketing run because this will be graphics in 2018. With just a few hours left until 11-11-11, the night before was a fever dream of genuine excitement and shameless capitalism. Around the world, queues began. People wore costumes, and at some locations they tested their steel. One store got a real dragon to show up. GameStops chugged the Skyrim Kool-Aid and adorned their shelves with Dovahkiin. Stores in London gave out free Skyrim goodie bags to those waiting in line, containing things like a free strategy guide, or shirt this man would never wear. Statues, posters, Skyrim toilet paper for your room. It was all Skyrim, all night. Back at Bethesda HQ for the midnight launch, the red carpet was a real who's who of celebrity gamers. Like, literally, who are these people? At least we got Wonder Woman.
Todd Howard.
Bethesda employees checked their watches. Only 1 minute to 11-11. Elder Scrolls fans unfurled their whirligig steampunk sand dials. Only a few more seconds now until Skyrim. Could Bethesda have done the impossible of reimagining their niche series into a mainstream multi-million-dollar empire? Would the strengths of Skyrim make up for its unprecedented development time? How could a team of roughly 100 people possibly pull off a game of this size and scope? Did some people have some doubts about the game? Maybe. But their fears rang hollow against the crowd's excitement, as in 1 second the world would see. Yup. It's Skyrim.
I cannot wait to see all the DLC and expansion stuff.
Some would say that all things must end so that the next can come to pass. Would you stop the next world from being born?
Where some franchises ride off into the sunset, ending on a high note, Bethesda can't stop running towards the sun, over and over and over. Skyrim was a massive hit in every sense of the word. It shattered sales records. Critics lauded it as the next standard for open world games. An entire generation of people had their brain chemistry permanently altered to laugh at stuff like this.
Hello.
And it's because they spent months of real world time in Skyrim. Remember that success can be a double-edged sword, and the success of Skyrim has kept Bethesda forever stuck on November 11th, 2011. This isn't me blindly bashing Bethesda for some ad revenue because they're evil, woke trash and gay, but they don't get a free pass because they made Skyrim. This comes from a place of deep love for the games they made, and from that small part of your heart that's too afraid to admit that things haven't been the same. Bethesda was truly prophetic by marketing Skyrim as a rebirth of fantasy. The game more than lived up to the hype and changed the genre, blah 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 blah. But it was also a rebirth of Bethesda. If you ever go back through Bethesda's catalog of RPGs, you know, your Scrollfalls, your Elder Outs, you can see a clear difference in how Bethesda designed their games pre versus post Skyrim. Bethesda hasn't deviated from Skyrim, quite literally. Fallout 4, the next big open-world Bethesda RPG after Skyrim, is exactly the same under the hood. Same animation, same radiant quest design, same shortened dialogue trees. Why am I still getting killed by the cars? I don't get it. Starfield had the same bugs from Skyrim, despite being 12 years its senior. The same radiant quests of Skyrim, the same creation engine loading screens as Skyrim, the same dialogue tree of yes, yes italicized, and no, may your firstborn die of carbon monoxide poisoning. As far as the actual role-playing elements of their RPGs, Skyrim streamlined a lot of depth that previous Bethesda games were praised for. Something you heard Bethesda say all the time during Skyrim's marketing was,
Are who you play. You are who you play.
are who you play. From the very inception of Skyrim on Todd Howard's notepad in 2007, one word pops up more than anything else: freedom. Bethesda wanted Skyrim to be far less rigid in its gameplay style. Skyrim is all about flexibility. You just pick up and you play.
Play the game, and if you want to be like a warrior, you pick heavy weapons. You want to do magic casting. You know, it's really what you put in your hands.
By making their games simpler, it means more people can experience these games we love. This is not a gatekeeping channel. We only gatekeep my access to books because I am unilateral. But streamlining comes at the cost of taking this complex role-playing sandbox and sanding it down to be one set experience. And this isn't me complaining that, oh, I can't choose the poop eater class and min-max my poop slinging build anymore. I mean this in the sense that the world you roleplay in has to become more and more flexible to bend to the player's freedom. For example, Bethesda really wanted everyone to experience the Mages Guild questline in Skyrim, to the point where my orc barbarian Grug-Ugg the Blood Drinker can become the most well-respected wizard in Skyrim by learning one novice level spell. This smooth-talking, scrawny thief can lead a faction of roided-out warriors who speak in uppercuts. Oblivion was guilty of this as well, but it still felt like there were realistic barriers to entry, like having to get a recommendation from every guild hall to become a true wizard. Morrowind would straight up lock you out from certain guilds if you joined factions. If you killed an essential NPC, you can't beat the main quest because this is Vardenfell, we actually die in this bitch. You want to kill anyone remotely important in Skyrim and they just Roomba across the floor indefinitely. Oblivion's character creation had custom classes you could create that specialized in major and minor skills. The combinations possible are insane. They're star signs with unique effects. Skyrim has even less skills, and most star signs boil down to making X skill improve X% faster. Or what about the drugs? Skooma is basically the Elder Scrolls equivalent of that Heisenberg blue. In other Elder Scrolls games, Skooma permanently damages your intelligence, drains your agility stat for 20 seconds, fortifies your speed stat for 20 seconds, and fortifies your strength for 20 seconds. If your character becomes addicted to Skooma, you will have no intelligence and be zooming around because you're now an in-universe tweaker. In Skyrim, Skooma restores 25 stamina points.
So on some level, we get ourselves in trouble by trying to make the ultimate fight dragons game, the ultimate be a warrior game, the ultimate mage game, and the ultimate thief game, and the ultimate assassination game, and the ultimate I'm picking plants game. You know, all of these kind of different styles.
These have been things that have crept into the series over time, but Skyrim was the straw that broke the camel's back. And because these changes ended up paying dividends, this became the new standard for Bethesda. Fallout 4 took cues from Skyrim and axed the major skills from Fallout 3 in favor of more generic perks. You choose character stats at the start of the game, but there's barely any depth to those stats beyond extorting homeless people for more money. The factions in this game are mortal enemies. Throughout the game, there's countless reminders that they will kill each other if given the chance. And Fallout 4 says you can work for every faction for a significant amount of time before coming to a breaking point.
I would consider it a close personal favor if you didn't sell us out to the Institute. Thanks.
No promises.
Okay. So, Dev...
While it's hilarious I can just be Mac,
I'm playing both sides so that I always come out on top.
Shouldn't someone from the paranoid, hyper-advanced faction that's famous for keeping tabs on everyone be like,
"Hey, I noticed you've been hanging with Buzz Lightyear, whose leader is currently trying to nuke us. Be a shame if you got shot on sight."
Like, do you guys not have Teams chat? To find the super duper secret clandestine faction, the Railroad, Bethesda pulled a Golden Claw moment and solved the puzzle for us by having the Railroad be found by following a giant red line spelling out the password to their super duper secret base. Who's in charge of the Railroad, Patrick? Oh yeah, and the password to the Railroad is Railroad, by the way. Don't tell their IT guy that. Dude, I put so many hours into Fallout 4, and I can think of like 1 or 2 actual role-playing checks in the base game. When I beat Fallout 4 for the first time, I didn't think it was a bad game. Far from it, actually. It just felt like a game I've played before. Fallout 76 further streamlined character progression. Starfield says you can be a space outlaw, just don't hurt anyone, okay? Most of the perks are just doing X skill at X% better. At least Skyrim let me do this. Starfield had to mod stealth takedowns into the game because Starfield is Skyrim in space. A game doesn't have to lock you out of content to be good. What it does need to do is follow its own rules to make the world believable. It's nice to be able to experience everything a game has to offer in one playthrough. However, at a certain point, when you sand down all barriers to entry for your character, it feels less like a lived-in world with consequences, and more like a roller coaster ride with one set path. I love a good roller coaster, but don't hand me a questionnaire in line if we're all getting launched at Mach 10 anyway. I know I sound like a gigantic nerd that drools when looking at character stats. Because I am. But I also know I'm not the only one who feels this way. When the Oblivion remaster came out, you saw thousands of people who had only played Skyrim before have their minds blown by just how much depth Skyrim removed. There are more Skyrim fans wanting to try a more complex game. The real question is, will Bethesda want to make that game? Who knows? Seeing as they don't need to move on from Skyrim. If they can even capture a fraction of that runaway success, they're making bank. The game may be broken, but there's no need to fix it. Even if they do gamble on a new IP and it underperforms, or straight up bombs, it doesn't matter anymore. Skyrim made them so much money it can make up for almost anything. Or if they get really desperate, they can just release Skyrim again, and again, and again. For many people like me, Skyrim just hits different enough that you can still play it in 30 years and be happy. And sadly, that passion has been weaponized. You may hear arguments, sometimes from Bethesda themselves, that they wouldn't keep selling Skyrim if people didn't keep buying it. They're not wrong. You ultimately decide whether or not you buy Skyrim DX, Legendary, Deluxe, Switch 2, Chainsaw Controller, I don't know. But in the same way that you are what you play, you are what you sell. If Bethesda keeps selling Skyrim like it's 11-11-11, then that's what people associate them with. And they know it.
People are still playing Skyrim. It's still one of the best-selling games. People joke about it online, but it's, you know, it's one of the best-selling games on Switch. Anything we put it out on, it becomes a hit game.
Bethesda still expects us to react to the smallest changes like it was Skyrim's first demo. Unfortunately, minor tweaks to things that should have been in their games years ago is just not enough to get people cheering anymore. Their output post-Skyrim has felt stagnant. Not from a lack of passion or effort, it's from an abundance of success. Please don't suck. As for the Elder Scrolls franchise, little has changed since November 11th. Bethesda hasn't been in a rush to get the Elder Scrolls 6 out because they're already set. November 11th, 2011, is the last time they released a mainline Elder Scrolls game. As of this video's posting, it's been over 15 years since Skyrim received a sequel. Dude, the Skyrim baby is almost in college. The time between a 30-second teaser trailer for The Elder Scrolls 6, the only official media from this game by the way, to the time of me writing this sentence, has been longer than Skyrim's entire development time. The time gap between Skyrim and its sequel is the same amount of time between Skyrim and The Elder Scrolls 2. Glad we're still learning from Skyrim, huh? They did make an Elder Scrolls MMO after Skyrim that has a loyal community. Pretty decent MMO. There was also an Elder Scrolls mobile game that was one of the games of all time. Let's be real though, these games are just not the same prestige as a mainline Elder Scrolls game. They're more like the side dish of fries you nibble on after a main course. So now the ginormous audience of Elder Scrolls fans have just been starving for a new game. If fans were going crazy after 5 years for Skyrim, you'd think they must be insane after 15. Well, you're wrong. Bethesda has been coasting on Skyrim for so long now that we've looped around to depression. People don't even have the energy anymore to cross-triangulate the trees. It's just a quiet resignation. Everyone's just gone hollow. Because there's a deep-seated fear, given Bethesda's track record, that Skyrim might be the last great Elder Scrolls game we could get. Whether or not it's true, only time can tell. It's a sad fate Bethesda finds themselves in these days. No one, myself included, likes to see their favorite creators regress into a husk of their former selves. Skyrim was a labor of love. Every single person that worked on this game truly believed in creating a world so immersive that many people would call it a home. What they ended up making was a mountain. Bethesda fought tooth and nail, somehow clawing their way to the top, catching lightning in a bottle at the summit. Then they climbed down the mountain into the valley below, where it's safe and comfortable. And now they're basically Uncle Rico, their glory days long behind them, just sitting on the porch, staring at their once great achievement, forever claiming they can make it to the top again.
How much you want to make a bet I can throw a football over the mountains?
Only it just might be the one mountain that they can't walk to the top of.
We walk this line between an action game and an adventure game and a role-playing game.
I'm a lifetime veteran for this game. If it came out 10 years again, I'd buy it.
Where we make games that we think are really, really cool, that we'd want to play, and to give those games a lot of development time and a lot of love. Will we return to Elder Scrolls? I mean, I think one day we will. Whether I can put soon in front of that, I couldn't do that right now. I cannot do that. One day we hope to get back to it.
If the world is meant to end, so be it. Let it end and be reborn.
Wait, Jack and Jill came out today? Yeah, alright, it all makes sense.